Previously on Structure Science. And now,
good afternoon, sir, and welcome to our hotel.
Thank you. I believe you have a reservation for Linus Torvalds?
Let me see. A reservation for Linus Torvalds. Here we are. And you'll be staying with us for 2 nights, sir?
That's right.
Very good, sir. Room 416, 4th floor.
Excuse me. I couldn't help overhearing, but you're the Linux guy, right? Word on the street is you're taking a time out to write a replacement software versioning system for BitKeeper. Is that true?
Actually, it is.
But you're not here to write that system in your hotel room, are you, sir?
Yes.
You're going to write an entire software versioning system from scratch in 48 hours?
No, I'm going to write an entire software versioning system from scratch in 24 hours. Then watch some television.
Akuchi Moya. I am far from the sacred places of my grandfathers. I am far from the salty licorice of my people. Let the spirits of software guide me. Find me. Bind me. Wind me.
Oh, for the love of little boy Linus, how many times have I told you? Never call me on Fridays.
Sorry, Lord Gautama, but this is important.
Oh, it's always important. Drivers this, Colonel that. Can never wait for Monday. Always gotta be today.
But it isn't about the kernel this time.
Oh?
Our software versioning tool isn't open source and everyone's getting rattled. We need to change it, but nothing else is both distributed and fast.
So,
I need a new software versioning tool?
Oh, well, little boy Linus needs a new software versioning tool. Well, let's just stop the universe for a few days and make that happen, huh? Let's just interrupt the very processes that manage the fabric of reality from one playing time interval to the next and make that a thing.
But it's crucial if Linux is to remain open sourced.
Oh, crucial. I see. Crucial. And what about entropy, dog? All this source code versioning is going to create a ton of order. And what's going to balance that? Or are you asking me to just break thermodynamics while I'm at it?
No, if you to give me the core, I can write the user interface myself. I'll make it the most complex and complicated ever created. The chaos of the interface will more than make up for the new source code order.
You can make the user commands that complex?
Yes, I can. I'll have a near infinite number of ways to do each and every task. Every time someone asks how to do something, there'll be 20 different programmers giving 20 different solutions, and all of their solutions will be equally correct, but everyone will passionately disagree with everyone else.
And?
And we can have multiple commit phases. We can force people to jump through pointless staging areas, commits, and arcane pushes to remote repositories. All the time. For everything.
And?
We can have tildes.
Tildes?
And carrots. And they can reference the version read history in subtly different ways that no one can ever remember. And we can have merging and rebasing that rejig commit histories in the most baffling ways. And monstrous 40-character hash codes.
Are you sure you can sell this to your programming community? No one will take 40-character hash codes seriously.
They will. They'll even defend all this complexity for some reason. I promise.
Well, I suppose I could always reuse the core components of Subversion. I slay myself sometimes, but enough. Okay, I'll give you your software versioning core code. But remember our deal, boy. First the kernel, now this. You do remember what this is, don't you?
It's the iPad of resetting.
You want to be reset, boy?
No, please, Lord Gautama.
You're rapidly approaching the end of your credit, Linus. And if your user interface isn't as complicated as you say, I will trigger some early repayments.
It will.
It'll be virtually unusable. I guarantee it.
Well, okay. Ooh, pillow chocolate.
Ah, Mr. Torvalds. I hear you finished your software versioning tool. Bravo, sir. Sterling work. And what, by the by, will this masterpiece be called?
I think I'll call it Gitama Budplexity. What? Oh, then maybe Gitama? Oh. Git?
There you go.
Well, this day couldn't have started any worse. Woke up this morning with my neighbor from the flat below me banging on my door, tells me there are drips falling from his ceiling. I check my kitchen, and there's an inch of water on the floor. I left the tap running all night, and it overflowed the sink. He served me with a bill of expected repair costs. $2,000!
Ouch.
How did you leave the tap running?
I was going to bed, filling a glass of water from my bedside table, when I got a phone call. And we men can't do two things at once, so something had to give.
I hear that.
So I just forgot the tap. Such a weird call, too. Anyway, this morning I called my plumber to check the water damage. Says he can't make it till Wednesday. Wednesday? What am I supposed to do till Wednesday? My kitchen floor will have rotted to mush by then.
Did you try other plumbers?
Other plumbers? Do you know how hard it was to get this plumber? Other plumbers won't even look at me. They have like a trade agreement not to take each other's clients. It's like blood types. They don't mix and match. I swear, some days, I just shouldn't get out of bed. Oh, hey, annoying YouTube guy.
Oh, don't call him over.
Why not? He always cheers me up. And I've never needed cheering up like I do now.
Hey, it's my favorite programming team. How you all doing? You know, I read an article last week that said programmers are the greatest people in the world, and I can only agree. Am I right? Am I right? Click on this link here for the article. Dave, you beautiful man, you never told me you started working out.
Well, I didn't, but...
No, get out of here. Well, you look like $1 million. You know, I was coming to work this morning thinking, now, just which of my favorite programmers would I like to meet today? And you know who I came up with? Well, before I answer, let's get pushing that subscribe button and mashing those likes, because this is a journey we're all taking together, people. I can't do this without you. And if you want to support the channel, I've linked to my Patreon account in the description below. If you pledge more than $5 a week, I'll list your name in among the thousands per second that flash up at the end of each video. You would not believe the work that goes into making this content. Did you know that a 20-minute video can take me 8 or even 10 hours to produce?
Yeah, try 300, buddy.
I'm mashing that like button.
Like target achieved. Well, who was I hoping to meet today? Only you, Dave.
Hey, go me.
Leave me a note in the comments below to enter a competition to win this watch. Every comment that starts with "I love annoying YouTube guy" will be eligible, and I'll announce the winner in 2 weeks' time. Good luck, commentators.
Oh, thank God.
You know, me and
Structure
millennial
us.
friends are just so grateful to all you
What?
wonderful programmers out there. You guys
You're
are the
kidding.
best. Think about the millennial stuff you give us.
But
Google,
that's just
YouTube,
3
Facebook,
hours.
Instagram. Wow, just but the list goes on
We
and on
can't
and
do
on.
both.
It's like, oh, snap.
Yeah, whatever.
All the snaps. Speaking of which, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook for bloop reels and extra content.
Guys, we have a problem. Dave, that feature we worked on in your branch all last week, we need to change it. We need to add a state machine to allow the user to revert any action, and we also need to retrofit Layer 3 to log all actions. And we need to do both by lunchtime.
Lunchtime?
This day just gets better and better.
Yeah, because management.
Well, that is not going to happen.
I don't know much about programming, but I know a lunchtime deadline sounds super serious. Look at my serious face. See this? That's serious, dudes. You catching the seriousness?
Yeah, we need to focus on one or the other to make sure at least one's finished by lunchtime. Let's tackle the state machine and do Layer 3 this afternoon. Dave, let's leave your branch as is. It might still be useful, so you can create a new branch from it, and we'll work in the new branch instead?
Sure. Some days you just shouldn't get out of bed. Though, see, this is what I love about Git. We work all week on a branch and then have to redesign, but we don't have to change that actual branch. We just instantly create a new one and leave the old one in place. It's so powerful. Why can't life be like Git? Why can't we abandon a really bad day and just create a new one? Why can't we just check out all reality? Like this.
No, Dave, don't enter that.
Relax, I was just kidding. Strange it didn't give an error.
Oh, Dave, what have you done?
Relax, I was just kidding. Strange it didn't give an error.
Oh, Dave, what have you done?
What?
You've just checked out all of reality. You've just made a copy of the entire universe.
Really? Git can do that? Cool.
No, it's not cool. I thought this was patched out.
Wait, so we're in a copy of the world that we were just in a second ago. Dave, do a git status. Okay, nothing modified. Now, break that pen.
What?
Humour me. Now, do a status again. Wow! Look, the pen's been modified in this reality.
Cool.
It's not cool. We're not just in a copy of the universe. We're copies of ourselves in a copy of a universe.
What, so I'm not human anymore? I'm a git copy of a human?
We all are.
I don't feel any different.
Dave, the universe isn't what you think it is. And software's not what you think it is. There are huge, overwhelmingly powerful forces out there that shouldn't be disturbed. And I think you've just put us under the microscope.
Microscope? Well, let me be the first to welcome our overwhelmingly powerful overlords. Hi up there! Welcome to our little corner of the world! And don't forget to click the bell icon so you don't miss any videos.
Dave, what have you done?
Nothing. Just playing around. I thought this would give an error, though.
No, Dave, you don't understand. You've just checked out all of reality.
Really? Cool. So, am I a god? Can I reset reality?
Don't do that. Those are sentient beings you're playing with.
Wait, you mean there are copies of us in there in Git?
Not just copies of us, copies of reality. We need to merge that branch with ours, and quick.
But if they're in there and we're in here, does that mean we've just doubled the number of people in our team? Can't we have them write the Layer 3 updates for us before we merge them back?
No, we can't have them write code for us. It's too risky. The longer that reality exists, the more it'll diverge from ours, and the more we'll risk conflicts when we merge.
Oh, but it would just take a couple of hours.
That's a couple of hours too long.
Look, they have a copy of you in there, don't they? And you'd make sure they don't diverge too much, wouldn't you?
He has a point. It's the only way we could code both features by lunchtime.
Fine, but don't complain to me if something goes wrong and reality crashes. And in 2 hours, we're merging them back, finished or not.
Excellent. So how do we tell them that we want them to code the Layer 3 feature?
Can you get grep for the nearest whiteboard?
Guys, I know ads are the worst, but if you consider adding my channel to your ad blocker whitelist, it really helps support the channel.
What was that?
I think it came from the whiteboard. Was that message there before?
You have 2 hours to code up and check in the Layer 3 feature, then we'll merge you back.
Oh, they want us to work in parallel, then merge us back to reality with the feature implemented. Wow, that is risky. Can't believe the other me agreed to it.
So we'll meet our lunchtime deadline for both features?
Well, how astonishingly convenient.
Okay, then let's get to work. We have 2 hours, people.
And then the monkey says, "Baby, I'm just here for the bananas." Get it? Of course, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, how did the doctor put the monkey in the cupboard in the first place? Well, wouldn't you like to know?
Annoying YouTube guy! Would you please get me a cup of coffee? I'm at a delicate stage of the algorithm and I don't want to break my concentration.
Oh, absolutely. Back in a tickety-boo.
Actually, I could do it a break. Listen, can we get to other place from here in Git?
Here we are. One delicious hot cup of strong, strengthy coffee. Would you like sugar with that? Strange. I can't quite hear what you're saying, but I know you're saying, no thank you, I'm good. Well, good. Listen, did I ever tell you about the time I did a live stream with irritating YouTube guy and tedious YouTube guy?
Do you refactor? If you do, then you've learned some rules about how to improve source code structure. Where did you learn those rules from? Most programmers would cite one of 3 sources. They were told the rules by someone else, perhaps during reviews. They read the rules on popular programming websites, or they read the rules in academic papers. The first 2 are more or less the same thing. They basically learned through the experience of others. The third, usually rarer than the first 2, when, for example, did you last read an academic paper on source code structuring? If well written, is usually more scientific than the first, and so is slightly better than mere experience. Why? Well, let's take science first and then swing back for the comparison. So what is science? Science isn't this massive undertaking that's only done in research departments and with large hadron colliders. Even our glorious wiki might suggest this when it says, science is a systematic enterprise that builds and organises knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions about the universe. Which sounds just so grand. Systematic. Organises knowledge, universe. These are big terms. The great American scientist Richard Feynman, however, put it rather more modestly when he said, in general, we look for a new law by the following process. First, we guess it. Then, we compute the consequences of the guess to see what it would imply, and then we compare to experiment. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. In that simple statement is the key to science. Between this grand and this humble definition of science, we need to find a middle ground. So let's distill a guiding definition from both of the above. Structures?
Science is building models that make falsifiable predictions of large-scale objective measurements.
Okay, as this is going to underlie everything we do here, let's break it down.
Building models.
Building models doesn't mean carving physical wooden models from planks. It's just Feynman's guessing. A model can be as simple as having an idea about how the phenomenon you're investigating might behave under different circumstances. It can also, however, be as complicated as a massive set of differential equations describing those same phenomena. But ultimately, it really is just a guess.
Falsifiable predictions.
Falsifiable predictions is a version of both the testable explanations of the first description and the compute the consequences of the second. We prefer falsifiable to testable, however, because science never actually shows that a guess is correct. If you let go of an apple and it falls, you haven't shown that gravity acts towards the centre of the Earth, even if you do it 1,000,000 times with the same result, because there's a possibility, remote but non-zero, that on the 1,000,001st time the apple might fly off into space for some reason. It's hugely unlikely, but it's not impossible. Rather, science tries to disprove. If you tried 1,000,000 times and failed to disprove it, then you assume correctness to within one attempt in 1,000,000. But it's always a raw assumption, and there's always a margin of error. There's always that doubt. Science is focused, razor-sharp doubt. It's not the pursuit of truth, but the relentless exposure of falsehood. Anyway, testable sounds as though you're trying to show that the guess was right, whereas falsifiable reinforces that you're trying, but failing, to show that the guess was wrong, and that's real science. Objective measurements attempts to encompass the first definitions about the universe and the second's compare to experiment. These are two key words. Science has little to say on the subjective. If you prefer Star Wars to Star Trek, then you're absolutely right. Science will never show that your subjective preference is wrong. You can do science with the subjective, of course. If you have a new cure for a mental disorder, you can run a clinical trial, offer that cure to patients, and then ask them how they subjectively feel, gathering all this data to ultimately evaluate the cure's effectiveness. But we won't pursue that line here for source code structuring. We won't be asking anyone whether they think a source code structure is good. Instead, we'll focus on objective properties, properties rooted in fact, existing outside opinion, and agreed upon by all.
And that word measurements. This means that we can never just presume a hypothesis to be correct. We have to do the legwork. We must actually check that our guess is correct. Or, rather, we must check that it's not incorrect.
Large scale.
Admittedly, this is a necessarily large part of science, because science doesn't measure something once and then stop. It measures over and over again until the system under investigation has had enough opportunity to explore its entire range of behavior under prevailing constraints. Only then can we have any confidence that the observed behavior will reappear with repeated stimulus. When you let go of an apple, it's probably going to fall, not because all apples must, but because all apples have so far.
So that's science, and many academic papers on source code structuring display all these elements. A search for keywords Java, dependency, and analysis on archive.org shows a paper called Dependence Aware, Unbounded, Sound Predictive Race Detection among the first 5 hits, which introduces 2 novel, sound predictive approaches to detect data races, whatever they are, and then proceeds to measure these approaches by analysing the tens of thousands of lines of code in 9 open source programs. Not 10 or 20 or 100 lines, but tens of thousands. Science requires these large datasets, hence the large scale of our working definition. So, academic papers tend towards the scientific approach, whereas colleagues and websites tend towards what we call trust-based teaching. But what's so wrong with trust-based teaching? If your work colleague has 20 years of experience more than you, why shouldn't you trust her? And what's the difference between trust and science? Of course, you should listen to her, but never uncritically. Lessons learned from trusted experience aren't wrong, but all experience is contingent on the conditions under which the experience was gained, and those contingencies are generally unknown, so there's no way to know whether a bias might have crept into that experience to negate its generality. A programmer might have 60 years of experience, but what if that programmer early on had learned to structure her code in a certain way, and so always influenced her system's design in this direction? Then her lessons learned would perhaps be invaluable, but only within systems designed in that certain way. For systems designed in another way, they might be less valuable. And that's the thing. An experienced programmer offering you advice generally won't provide the tens of thousands of lines of code that she's measured to reach her conclusions. You're trusting her interpretation of the data. Whereas with the scientific approach, you will always have access to the data yourself so that you can reach your own conclusions. You may not bother to analyse the data yourself, but at least you can. And if you learn code structuring rules from popular websites, you again usually have to trust the author. A search for any articles on source code structuring will often trace back advice to one of 2 sources: Robert C. Martin's Solid Principles, or that mighty tome, Design Patterns, Elements of Reusable Object-Oriented Software. Both are sources of trust-based advice. You must trust the authors. It's ludicrous to expect Martin to show all the code he's worked on to reach his conclusions. And as the author of Design Patterns themselves write, we have included only designs that have been applied more than once in different systems. They are either part of the folklore of the object-oriented community or are elements of some successful object-oriented systems. From a science point of view, trust is not required. In fact, it must not be required. This is why no scientist ever stands at a conference to say something like, "In my experience, electrons can always transition between configurations in atomic orbits." In science, you make your guess and measure over as large a data set as you can find, then present both the measurement tools and data to everyone so that they can replicate what you did. If you don't present these, you have not science, but speculation. And if you've learned your structuring principles from websites and books that don't present large-scale datasets supporting their case, then speculation forms the foundation of your source code structuring. This is why we're going to use science to investigate source code structure, and in the next episode we'll show precisely how we'll do this.
Structure, how's that class refactoring coming along?
Just finishing up, should be ready in 10 minutes.
Dave, is the logging ready?
As good as.
Great. We should be finished with a half an hour to spare.
I still can't believe this. We're in another reality. It's so cool.
It's dangerous is what it is.
And time is copied too?
Git replicates all.
Couldn't we have made it a bit easier on ourselves and slowed time down a bit?
Time doesn't work that way. It's relative, as a certain Bertie Einstein would say.
Oh, so relativity's the same here, huh?
Specific and general.
I never liked relativity. I prefer absolutes. Relativity always sounded so wishy-washy to me. Time slows as you approach the speed of light. Where'd that come from? Feels very subjective, if you ask me.
Einstein wouldn't disagree. How does his quote go again? Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute.
What if a pretty girl takes you on a date in her spaceship and approaches the speed of light?
Oh.
Just my luck. If we had control of time, I could have gone back to my apartment last night to turn off the tap after I went to bed.
Well, thankfully we can't. We're already lucky not to have brought unwanted attention on ourselves as it is.
Unwanted attention from who?
Trust me, you don't want to know.
Wait a minute. I checked out now and got a copy of now. What if I check out last night? Then I could go and turn off the tap.
Okay, it's getting real now.
Cool. Midnight? Damn it, am I too late? Hello? Hi, Dave, this is you. Listen, turn off the tap. Who is this? I'm you. I know it sounds crazy, but you're in Git. We both are. Well, technically, I'm from a first-order Git reality, and you're in a second-order Git, but we're both perfect copies of the Dave outside in actual reality. Listen, if you don't turn off the tap... Hello? Dave? I hung up on myself. But did I turn off the tap?
Oh, this is gonna be too easy.
Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? You're traipsing around in a second-order Git violation, and you ask, who am I?
That doesn't sound good.
Oh, it's very not good. You know what this is?
An iPad?
An iPad? Boy, this is the iPad of resetting, which is what I'm gonna do to you. Do you know what happens when you are reset?
I'm allowed to leave unharmed?
Ha! You know, I might have even liked you. Goodbye, violation.
Lord Gittima?
Structurist. Well.
Dave here's just made a mistake, and he's extremely sorry. Aren't you, Dave?
Oh, super sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'll merge him back. There'll be no conflicts.
It's been a long time, Structurist.
Yes, it has. It's good to see you again.
Well, you simply never call.
Yeah, I've been busy, holding things together.
Responsible as always, Structurist. Responsible as always.
Like I said, we're sorry for this. I'll be merging back now.
Well, far be it from me to meddle in the affairs of the greatest programmer in the galaxy. See you around, Structurist.
Dave, I'm not actually here. I'm back at the keyboard, and I'm merging you back. Now.
No, wait! I have to turn off the... Who on earth was that?
Who was who?
Never mind. Okay, are all of our changes committed? Good. Then we wait to get merged back to reality.
And the programming team saves the day! Such heroic digital warriors fighting the good fight of feature delivery and shareholder value! I'm proud to have been here, proud to have seen it! Surely brings a tear to the eye to see such professionalism and courage in the face of insurmountable deadlines!
Hang on. Oh, there's one more tiny change I have to commit.
Okay, Dave, their time's up. Let's merge them back.
Merging back in 5, 4,
The excitement's palpable!
3...
What will happen? Will the feature be ready? Will reality crash? It's all happening, people! And
Is that it?
Yep, no conflicts. We're all back to one reality again.
Damn it! I still have the water damage bill.
Why wouldn't you have?
Never mind.
Oh, and I see we have both features coded. Which is fantastic, but in the end, what really matters is that all three of us got back safely. So, have they reached the first law of source code structure yet?
Nope. They've just defined science.
What on earth is taking them so long?